Hello again, Struckwap. Welcome back to another evening of streaming. Today I will be doing a little bit of Chaosbane, just checking why it's not showing up. Just a moment. Somehow it's not picking up in the game. Maybe that should do the trick. Yeah, there we go. We have image showing up. So yeah, I will be doing some Chaosbane and I will be trying to rework some of my old builds to update them accordingly for the Forges update, because I'm planning of making videos for not all of them, maybe all of them we'll see, but at least for some of the builds. And I've been ignoring Conrad. I've been keeping him kind of on the bench, and I might play a bit of Conrad today because I guess it's time. Let me quickly go ahead and post that I'm online in the Discord. Yeah, I will be starting anytime now. Just give me like a few seconds more. So yeah, starting with Conrad and then switching in between the heroes as I go. I will be experimenting with different setups. First of all, what I need on Conrad is some items with health drain, because Conrad is now broken. He's broken in the way that this medal of what's it called? Where did it go? Thrice blessed copper medal is no longer healing. That means some things need to change when you're playing Conrad. I'm gonna quickly go back to the Solan set, which used to be the strongest, but probably not right now, and I'm gonna see if there's a way to make it work. Probably Chaos 9 and 10 would be a bit difficult, so I'm gonna change the difficulty to Chaos 8. Chaos 8 at first. I just wanna farm some items and I don't feel like doing invasions. It's gonna be a little bit boring if I do invasions, but eventually if I need to I might go back to doing invasions just so I could farm some stuff. First of all, let's spend some points on those legendary ranks. Okay, I think I'm gonna go 35% here. 30% here seems okay. Maybe something like this. So enough damage reduction. And as I said, I need to rework some stuff. I do want to be using Blessing of the Brave. And I do like using Sigmar's Bastion, but here's the thing. If you're not gonna be healing anymore with Sigmar's Bastion, maybe I might consider replacing it. Right now this is my old setup. This is the way I had my passives before. Sometimes I wouldn't take Divine Judgment 3 and I would take more crit damage. I'm not sure whether it's worth it to do it that way now. So first off, a shield, a sword. You know what? I'm gonna go and stack my damage reduction rings. I'm gonna focus on survivability rather than damage. So let's use this one, and let's use this one. And for the medal, I used to use Thrice Blessed Copper Medal, but I'm thinking of using Medal of Destiny just for the damage reduction. Oh no, that's damage taken increased. Okay. This one, but this is for my allies. Might as well go for cooldowns then. Sacred Fire Medal with the cooldowns might be Might be my only viable option right now. The problem is I don't have a good roll, so I will still use my Thrice Blessed Copper Medal. Or maybe Medal of the Exemplar, because I'm farming. Might as well go for Exemplar for now. This is a good one. This gives me some cooldown reduction, but I'm losing crit chance, and my crit chance is not really great. But if I use this and this, I'm getting a little bit more. We'll see. I will be experimenting. Main thing is I need to bless some stuff for a bit of a balanced option here. So this is a challenge, because now, knowing that we can't heal with the Thrice Blessed Copper Medal, it's just a completely different way of approaching the game. I used to just... oh, you don't have enough money. Okay, well, I'm gonna need to do an invasion quickly, just to get some money. No other reason. If anyone wants to join me, if anyone wants to play together, feel free to let me know. Also, welcome from Cicero, not sure how to pronounce this. Nice to see that you're watching from Argentina. So, just a second. Is my stream playing? Because I can't seem to be able to open to see my stream. Just a second. Maybe something's happening. Twitch server IP address could not be found. Is it? Just a moment. I'm just monitoring my stream to see if it works. I'm gonna quickly try again. Okay, now it should work. It was giving me black screen on my device that I'm using for monitoring. So this one would be quick. I probably shouldn't have even used this set for an invasion. So this used to be how you heal before. Every time you do this beam used to be 20% HP healed. But this no longer seems effective. And I can probably die here on a Chaos 6. Not Chaos 6, that's even Chaos 2 invasion. Even here I can take damage and not be able to heal myself. Thankfully, the health drain does help a bit. But it's not gonna help much. Alright, let's just complete this map, quickly get some money and then start doing some relic hunts. Because I don't feel like doing invasions, I much rather do some Chaos 8 relic hunts. If Chaos 8 is too difficult, I could probably go to Chaos 7, but we'll see. Right now the problem would be the survivability, not the damage. And this build used to be that way, that the more you survive, the longer you survive, the more the damage gets. Because you need to be taking damage to do damage with this build. You need to be blocking hits, and each block keeps giving you cooldown resets, and you get that Blade of Vengeance stacks and all of that. I'm right now using a Grudge Settler, which I shouldn't. I should switch to Blade of Vengeance. The Grudge Settler I was using on my Pistolier build. So Blade of Vengeance. Let me see which one would be the one I want. Well, obviously the green one. But yeah, the more you walk with this build, the more damage you end up getting. And the more your cooldown resets. Basically, the way this build used to be played is you want big groups of enemies. If it's just 5 enemies around you, you need to move on and find more. So something like this is okay. Not ideal, but at least that's some enemies. So let's just get some more money. I probably should have used Pistolier build for the farming on invasion. On this invasion, because it's an easy one, and with Pistolier build I would have done a lot more. Pistolier build seems to be pretty nice until a certain level of difficulty is reached, but now with the addition of padded armor, I think a Pistolier build can be much stronger than it used to be before. If you can keep the energy up and keep spamming. And with health drain, I think Pistolier with health drain would be a great combo. But yeah, I think this would be one of the builds I'm gonna try and update. This and the Pistolier for Conrad would be the main builds, the two builds I wanna update. First, I also wanna update a build for Alessa and a build for Elwontier. And for Elwontier I'm probably gonna do the melee build first. Haven't decided which to do for Alessa first. With the poison build you can have a lot of survivability now. Even before, the poison build on Alessa was very tanky. But now I can get it to be even more tanky with padded armor. So we'll see. Right, now I just need to kill some enemies. Kind of rush this map, so I'm not gonna be able to... Actually... I wonder if I can leave without killing the enemies, since this is an invasion. Oh, Skaven Killer Breastplate. One thing's for sure, I'm not gonna bother trying counterattack builds on Conrad. I've already learned my lesson. Counterattack on Conrad is just... it's not good enough. Even with the increase of counterattack from gear, with the Forges update, it's not gonna be good enough. So I've got some money now. Where is the money? 68,000, that should be enough to do a relic hunt. Cooldowns increased over time. Really didn't want to do this, but let's try it. Cooldowns increase over time basically is the worst thing that could happen for you on this build. Just wanna quickly check, am I using damage reduction from the banner? Damage reduction here, damage reduction here, damage reduction here, and chain reaction. What can I get here? If I'm not using Incisive Breakthrough, there was one with damage reduction somewhere. Maybe this one with the block chance. Oh, this one, damage reduction. That's why I was using that. Okay, makes sense to have been using that. So far so good, but I haven't encountered elites yet on this Chaos 8. Padded armor is stacking up nicely, 22 million defense. With just half of the stacks of padded armor. Not bad, not bad. It's a bit easy to build the vengeance stacks now, because they don't go up to 10 stacks, they go up to... they don't go up to 20, they go only to 10 stacks. So building up a Blade of Vengeance is easy, but the damage you can get, I mean, I think it's a little bit less. I need to check again. So we can get up to 200% damage right now. And again, as you can see, my problem is the healing. I don't have much sources of healing. Whereas before, this build could heal all the time easily. I could use Wisdom of the Apothecary, the shield and a passive, but the only thing I could think of replacing would be Hero of the Desert to get the passive, this one. But then I'm gonna need to switch my shield to a different one, which is not a problem. If needed, I could do it. And then we can keep healing easily. So what I'm talking about is this. Using that shield, this one is on one of my other builds. Shit. I'm gonna have to pick it up later. But yeah, using this shield so you can end up healing easier. That's probably another way of getting survivability instead of using that shield. But for shields, I guess just use whatever. But the Medic's Pavis seems to be probably the one thing that would help this build push something like Chaos 9 and 10 a bit easier. It's all about the cooldowns though. This is a cooldown based build. Highly dependent on cooldown reduction. And my cooldown reduction, as you can see right now. Ooh, this is because of the map, minus 124%. Cooldowns with all players increase over time. This is why my cooldown is that bad. This is why right now it seems super bad and slow, and it is. But it's not how it normally is, it's just because of the map mod. Let's see how the boss fight would feel though. That is really important to see how this fares in a boss fight without the ability to heal that we used to have before. Let's kill some more enemies here. Just building up some of those stacks before the boss fight. But yeah, Conrad is kind of my least favorite character, but he's still a fun character. For some people probably it's gonna be their favorite. And it's always a matter of just preference, what playstyle you like. Come on, come on. See, I should be able to spam those meteors, but right now I can't. Due to that cooldown increase. And what should take a few seconds takes several. I'm not gonna kill this elite, I'm just gonna pull him. Maybe the elite's gonna follow, maybe he's not. Let's kill that mage. See, I can't even keep my duelist chain reaction up due to that increased cooldown. let's keep moving and find the boss. My guess is the boss is this way. Maybe in this room. Yeah, that's where it is. Let's see if the boss can kill us now. So our Blade of Vengeance is up, but the pallet armor is not maxed out, and this is how I might end up dying. Fuck. Waiting for my potion to cool down. Alright, there we go. Come on, survive. So yeah, probably Wisdom of the Apothecary is what I think this build needs right now. I'm gonna get my shield, rework its blessing, fragments, and see how it works. Instead of Hero of the Desert, Wisdom of the Apothecary for faster potion cooldowns. One other thing I might do is replace my banner to the one that gives me cooldown reduction rather than the one that gives me damage reduction. Because this banner right now gives me 30% damage reduction, but if I don't go for that one and go for the other one, which gives me cooldown reduction, we'll see how it works. Because that cooldown reduction used to work on the potion before. Maybe they fixed it some updates ago. I haven't tested it after the forges whether it does. But I think during the Tom King's update the potion cooldown did not get affected by this banner, if I remember correctly. But this fight is taking much longer than it should. And that's only because I have to kite, because I can't survive. And the whole point is to be able to face tank with Conrad and just stay in one place, take damage, get hit. Being hit means you're blocking. Blocking means you're resetting your cooldown, which means you're spamming your meteors, your what's it called, Justice of the Empire skill. This is how this is supposed to be played. That's why I'm trying to maximize the survivability, even if it means sacrificing damage. Surviving on this build is more important because it's all about getting hit and blocking. Alright, going to the city quickly. But Chaos 8, you can see, did it without dying once. Chaos 9 is gonna need a bit more survivability. First, I'm not gonna replace the banner, just the shield. Which means we're using this one. And then we are using a shield that gives us a heroic version of it. So let's see where the shield is. This is the shield I need. So this is crit chance, blessed. I'm gonna bless it for HP. Oops, wrong button. This shield actually doesn't give HP by itself, which is a blow to my survivability a bit. Because look, the other shield I was wearing did have a few thousand, 17,000 HP by itself. So we'll see how that works out. And by the way, this would be very nice for a pistolier build. They reworked this shield, and this shield would be my new shield for a pistolier. I'm gonna still play now with Sowant just to see how it is, but I'm gonna do one change. Instead of Medal of the Exemplar, which I was just only wearing for farming purposes, no other reason. Instead of that, I'm gonna see what my other best is. My other best is again Thrice Blessed Copper Medal. It gives me damage, crit chance, HP, but no cooldown reduction. This one on the other hand is a lot of cooldown reduction. I'm gonna go for my old one. But the best option would be Sacred Fire Medal. Right now there isn't anything better than the Sacred Fire Medal for that build, since they broke the Thrice Blessed Copper Medal to stop healing. Either that or the Pure Soul Medal. If the Pure Soul Medal lets you do more damage with this, that's fine. You're not doing damage with that one, so you're only gonna have an increase on this. But it depends what you get as a good roll. It really depends on what drops for you and what doesn't. So we did get a new Skaven Killer item, which I'm gonna check. Skaven Killer. It is not better. I'm gonna put it in my warehouse. If anyone wants it and they're on PC Steam, they can have it. So back to the Sowant's Ghost. I'm gonna do 2 more maps on this set, then I'm changing to Pistolier just to show people how to build. Again, the god skills are exactly the same as I used to do before. Stopping for Blessing of the Brave, taking 10% damage, 12% damage on the way. Going for Divine Judgment Mastered, taking 12% damage and 30% crit damage on the way, with Sigmar's Blessing and Sigmar's Bastion. Nothing changed in the god skills part. Let's see this one. Heroes Constantly Bleed is amazing. Heroes Constantly Bleed combined with padded armor means you're constantly building stacks of padded armor, and eventually after 100 seconds or so, after 100 ticks, look at this thing here. After 100 ticks, this would be high enough for you to have maxed out 40% damage reduction from that skill. So the first few seconds are important to survive, where I don't have those 100 stacks. But look, I'm already at 25, so I'm just gonna group up some enemies, do this and this, and try to survive. Again, the more the enemies around us, the better it is. But you gotta be careful with one-shot enemies, especially on this zone. The guys with the banners can one-shot, the guys with the big swords can one-shot. And on top of that, there's others that could one-shot you, the big guys, the Chaosbane. I've sacrificed damage for damage reduction. So let's see if I'm gonna die. I'm gonna let this enemy hit me and see if I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna dodge, just testing my survivability. I think I just survived a direct hit. 22 million defense. But keep in mind, this is Chaos 8, it is not Chaos 9. And on Chaos 9 probably I would have taken damage with that hit that I just survived earlier. But that's how this build is supposed to be played. You face tanking everything. Even if you don't do that much damage, you're still gonna do some. If you think you can sacrifice some damage reduction, then you can replace one of the rings. You can see I'm using Fortification and Fortitude. Fortification is great that it gives you not just damage reduction but HP. But it also makes you do 40% less damage. So you have to decide, do you wanna sacrifice that 40% damage and survive, or are you doing something easier that doesn't require this? And then there's other rings that you could use with this. I think a great combo would be Oath Ring of Resonance, because this is basically you spamming cooldown skills. Spamming cooldown skills means you're gonna be triggering the explosions and the stun of duelist chain, not duelist chain reaction, but Ring of Resonance all the time. So if you can get your hands on a good Ring of Resonance, you might wanna use it sometimes. And this is what you do when there's a few enemies left. You move on and get more. Let's see if I can tank the... I'm gonna get this enemy to explode and stay inside the explosion. Okay, I didn't die. That's a good test. Very good test of survivability. Although I think on Chaos 9 this probably would have killed me. If not 9, 10 for sure would have killed me. That explosion that left me at half HP. So that's I think how this build would be reworked. Making sure that instead of Hero of the Desert we're using Heroic Wisdom of the Apothecary, and using Pallet Armor, Herald of the Empire Mastered, Blessing of the Brave Mastered, and Divine Judgment Mastered. We're not using things like Bastion against Corruption. We could use Bastion against Corruption, but Bastion against Corruption depends on stacks, and we already have this to depend on stacks, and this is super great to be able to heal, so I wouldn't suggest removing this. And this one gives you the 20% damage reduction without needing stacks, so probably better to not replace those. And this is amazing for the damage. We really don't want to lose this, because that's a lot of damage there. And yeah, this one again, damage reduction for nearby enemies. But I think this is a successful rework of that build. Next would be me experimenting with the Pistolier. I've got some ideas about some things I want to test with it. Okay, one enemy left, that means let's get some more. That was my duelist chain reaction. Let's pull some more enemies. That's a good amount of enemies. Definitely boring though. I mean, compare this to me playing Bragi, and you can see how much slower killing the enemies is. But at least it's safe. With this guy, chances of me dying are much lower than on Bragi. Compare this to Evuntir. Evuntir can have as much, even more survivability than this guy, and still survive and do more damage right now. So right now Conrad kind of lost a lot. He lost a lot by not being able to heal with that amulet, that Thrice Blessed Meadow. But Wife Drain, I would suggest stacking as much health drain as you can, and then then probably you would be able to kind of heal as much as I could heal before. 'Cause right now my health drain I think is only, well, I think it's zero health drain. So I'm definitely gonna need preferably a weapon and some rings with health drain. This difficulty is Chaos 8. You can see it's not the best difficulty, but I decided to not go to Chaos 9. I wanted to test on Chaos 8 first. Chaos 9 would be almost the same, but elite fights might be a little bit more difficult. But if it can do Chaos 8, it can do Chaos 9. Chaos 10 though, I would suggest avoiding it because it's just pointless. For just 300 extra wood quality, the amount of HP and armor enemies have is just not worth it for the time. So I would suggest playing Conrad on this build for Chaos 8 and 9 being fine. But it's very gear dependent. I mean, you need that shield, you need that sword, and you need at least one of those two ring types. Preferably both of them, if not at least get the fortitude maybe. But with the fortitude ring it kind of got nerfed because now you need to collect bloodlust orbs to get it. And what I'm suggesting the developers need to add an option when wearing this ring to get increased pickup radius for bloodlust orbs. Because right now this damage reduction ain't gonna trigger until I pick up that orb. So having to pick up bloodlust orbs, interesting mechanic, but I don't think anyone wanted that mechanic to exist. And if the mechanic would exist, then at least give us increased pickup radius from some sources, so that we can stay on the same place and still pick up that. Because see that, look at how far it is, it's not that far. So if I could pick this orb by standing in one place, it wasn't that far. So having this radius, look at where the boss is, in the middle of my banner. So let's say if I'm standing in the middle of my banner, anything that's within the banner radius should be picked up if it's a bloodlust orb. I think that's how big the pickup radius needs to be made when wearing one such ring. And there is another one that increases your damage. And I say if you have both of those rings, maybe there could be some sort of soft set bonus that doubles this pickup radius increase. Something like that would be great. This is how I would have handled adding such a new mechanic. I really wish I could speak to the developers because there are so many ideas I could give them, but besides from the community manager there's no one else in the Discord server to talk to, so there's no way of us making sure that the developers are even seeing what we are writing as suggestions, as feedback. I can only hope that whatever I'm writing in the Discord server is actually seen by the people who make decisions regarding the game systems and the future of the game. It's nice that they haven't given up on the game and they're still keeping the development going with new fresh content and ideas, and that's good. Even though it's a small player base, there are still people who enjoy playing the game, and I do enjoy making content for those people. And playing, if you're on PC, feel free to hop in, we can do some maps together. I can help you with your invasions, or you can just do a relic hunts or whatever you want. Or I can take you to some higher level invasions. So next off I'm gonna do Pistolier, and then I'm gonna move to a different class. But I can tell you right now what builds I'm already planning on updating. First I want to update my Mage Melee build video, then I want to update this build video, and then I want to update... what should I update? I'm wondering who to update on Elessa, so I haven't decided yet. I also want to update the Pistolier and On the mage I'm probably gonna update the ult one, because it was the survivability set as well. But I might as well update Morvo, because it was the one weird set that you could play with damage over time and still do nice damage with damage over time blessings. It's actually the only build on all characters where I've tested damage over time builds. The only set that seemed to work well with damage over time blessings was on the mage, the Morvo set. And even then, it wasn't that big of a difference between going for damage blessings and damage over time. So I still would have just preferred playing it as a damage blessed, damage and HP. So let's take off this shield, the ring. So Pistolier. It is gonna be a little bit of a challenge now. I'm thinking this, and I'm thinking, was that energy? Maximum energy. What if I do it like this? 10 maximum energy. I think I've got enough energy, so I'm not gonna go for energy, I'm just gonna go for HP. I really want health drain on the Pistolier, and the good thing is I can get health drain with my Grudge Settler. But if you're having trouble surviving, there is the Sacred Scepter. Sacred Scepter might work well. I'm gonna quickly compare. Because if you need more damage reduction and want to sacrifice some damage, Sacred Scepter is fine. But you're sacrificing a lot of damage. With the Blade of Vengeance you can get 200% damage from all 10 stacks. And not just 200% damage, but also 30% damage reduction with the Blade of Vengeance. With the Grudge Settler, all damage to taunted enemies is 100%. So with the Pistolier you can decide, do you want to play it more tanky and get enemies to hit you with Blade of Vengeance, or do you want to play it tanky with increased healing with the Sacred Scepter, or do you want to just make sure you're taunting enemies and do more damage to them? I'm gonna quickly decide and test all three options. First, which hammer is better? I think the hammer I'm wearing is by far better. It just needs a blessing. So I'm gonna go for damage and HP. Let's go balanced. Like this. Oh fuck. This button keeps getting me. I keep pressing here, because that's where make an offering used to be. Make an offering used to be here, now they moved make an offering here, but they put was blessing here. I'd much rather see this and this switching places. It would be much better if they put make an offering where it used to be and put was blessing here. Or even somewhere on the side or whatever, maybe here. Anyways, I'm gonna play with the Sacred Scepter. I'm gonna also play with the Grudge Settler and with the Blade of Vengeance. What else do we have? I don't think I've got the other weapons right now. And I'm gonna play with Meteoric Iron Shield, because Meteoric Iron Shield, as I said, up to 30% energy cost, and Pistolier is all about the energy cost. You can see the way I've set it up: Hero of the Desert, Padded Armor, Blessing of the Brave, Share Rations Superior for energy gain, which is optional. I'm gonna experiment with and without it. Divine Judgment, just the basic one. And the amulet I was using, was Meadow of Destiny, which is far off enemies take more damage, but you take 10% damage. So basically that's removing 10% damage reduction from your stack. I've got another Medal of Destiny as well. Let's see which one is better. Well, this one seems better. Cooldown reduction, crit chance. So let's bless it. With the balanced option again. Basically gonna re-bless some of the items to give me a bit more HP. Less damage, more HP. This one was blessing. Sacrificing some damage for survivability. I don't want to go all in glass cannon. So now we need rings. As I said, Ring of Resonance is good for cooldown builds, but this is not gonna be heavy cooldown build. I'm gonna get Signet of Fortification. And this is great because it gives you energy. Alternatively, you can try something like you can try using fortification if you want to. And actually that one is not as good as that one. Because I think if you have enough HP and stacking enough damage reduction, you can probably survive. This one is also great, so I'm gonna bless it and use it as well. I'm gonna start actually with it. I'm gonna start with the purple signet. This is gonna be my first test, using purple signet for the damage. And if I need survivability, I'm gonna change it. But first off, let's use a purple signet. The worst thing about it is now again I need to pick up Bloodlust orbs. Alright, let's see. Again, Chaosbane Relic Hunt is what I'm doing. Ooh, not hero armor reduces over time. Enemies explode on death. I would not mind doing it, but my FPS is terrible when the enemies are exploding. This one. Enemies unaffected by poison, bleeding and stunning. Maximum energy of all players decreases over time. Well, I don't have much gold left, so let's do this one. Lesser relic map. It's still the same difficulty, just less drops. So this is taunting if we need energy. I wanna see my damage. Not as much as it needs to be. Wait, shouldn't I be... Did they change the heroic pistolier? I do remember it being wider. Maybe I haven't played pistolier in a while and that's why I don't remember it. I need more damage, because I'm not liking this at all. Switching to Grudge Settler. Maybe let's try Blade of Vengeance, but I don't think I can keep the stacks up on Blade of Vengeance and survive. But let's check it out. Okay, that's not so bad. Am I using duelist chain reaction? I don't see myself using duelist chain reaction. But I've only got this for a cooldown skill and this for a cooldown skill. I can still check it. Let's check removing Hero of the Desert and putting duelist chain reaction for damage. Bastion against corruption, do we want it? Let's do it like that. And again, I'm seeing some problems with the healing, with the survivability. Let's do it like this. So health drain is what I really need on this. But I used to be able to do 30, 40, 50 million before with Pistolier. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, Matt Jeezy, I'm live right now. I am live. Sorry for the late reply. So you can ask questions, you can join me if you're on PC if you want to. But what you're watching right now is it's not a recording, it's me streaming live. Oh wow, 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 wow. So we did do 30 million hit, but still this used to do up to 55, 56 million hits before. Although I'm playing a more defensive version than the Pistolier build from December. So I've already figured out how to rework 2 of my builds, and that's okay. Having 2 of the builds reworked. 48 million, there we go. 33 million, there we go. If we could have that thrice blessed copper medal fixed, it would have been amazing, but even without it, it's okay. The boss would be amazingly difficult on this without some source of healing. 52 million, there we go, we're seeing damage now. So duelist chain reaction, keeping that up is what allowed me to get that damage pushed further. Right now on this map I have a constant stream of enemies. Not the best map to be playing on a Pistolier, because you want the enemies to not be that close to you, because far off enemies take more damage. With the amulet I'm using. Let's get some fragments from this. Wow, we can... Those insects constantly crawling up, messing with me. So you can see I don't have problems with the energy, which means I'm gonna do something and experiment. I think with the addition of energy regeneration on the meteoric iron shield, I think I no longer need share rations. So instead of share rations, let's see what I can get for more damage. One thing would be, of course, Bastion against corruption, as you saw me using earlier. Indestructible is not bad, by the way, but I'm right now with my current block chance, that's only 17 damage. Only 17% damage, actually 22% damage. Do we want that 22% damage? Let's see if there's anything better we can get. Herald of the Empire. Another amazing 20% damage and 20 damage reduction. Do I want to be blocking more or do I want to be having damage reduction? Probably the damage reduction seems more tempting. Which means if I'm not using share rations, I can rework my build. If I don't need share rations, I can just go for something completely different. Not going this way, and maybe going this way for damage reduction and increased cooldowns. Here the only things that you really want to have good cooldown is the banner and the taunt, and since I'm using this one, this reduces the cooldown by 20%. This increases it by 30%, but gives me damage reduction. So that's one thing we can experiment with. Another thing we can experiment with would be just getting more damage, and that's probably what I'm gonna do. Higher Divine Judgment version. Do I want this? 40% damage, 20 block chance, 20. Yeah, I'm actually gonna grab this one, because more energy regeneration, longer duration. Yeah, I'm gonna rework the god skills quickly. I think I need to be in the town to do it. So with the next one I'm gonna be reworking the god skills. But this shield allows me to do this. It didn't used to give that option before. Look at the shield. 10 stacks of up to minus 3% energy cost, depending on how many enemies are around you. But they need to be kinda close to you. You can see the aura is pretty small. It's half the size of my banner radius. But yeah, some people love that playstyle. Some people love that shooty shoot playstyle. Other people might enjoy that Empire of the Justice playstyle more. And here is probably where I'm gonna die. I don't have room to kite, because the enemies are just on my ass all the time. And here is where I die. Come on, potion. That's a bad start. Bad start of the boss fight. If I started well and pulled some of the enemies far from the boss, which I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get the boss to reset, kill the enemies, and then just kill the boss by itself. The big problem is all those little insects. They're swarming me and I can't move past them. And they constantly spawn regardless whether it's boss elites or whatever I'm fighting. They're gonna be there all the time. So I might as well clear out the elites and just fight only the boss and the insects. But there's a healer as well, which we kind of two-shot. So what you want is the banner in the middle and you kiting around the boss with it. You can see I'm doing a lot of damage when I do damage, but most of the time I'm just kiting. Okay, I kind of had to do this to save myself. But even that might not save me. There we go. Killed him. Bit of a tough boss for this build. Of course, most other bosses would be easy. Especially the ones on Act 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can get as bosses. The Jabber's White, the Chaosbane. Chaosbane is super easy to kill on a Pistolier build, because it's a fat, slow moving enemy. Someone's Fate Breastplate, okay. So right now, as I said, I want to rework the god skills a bit. I've got some ideas. And we're gonna remove share rations. And Sigmar's Rat, I'm not using Sigmar's Rat, so let's remove it. And let's decide. Crits, more damage, or... See, one thing we can do is grab Divine Judgment Mastered. Then get some crit damage, then get some damage. But I think instead of getting this crit damage, we are better off taking this damage. So basically my god skills from my other build, I'm applying the same god skills from my other build here on this build. But I think it's a good way to do it. This also isn't bad. The Majestic Aura. Basically, the Majestic Aura is pointless. Why is Majestic Aura pointless, you ask? Well, this is for the same points you invest, you're getting 20 damage and 20 damage reduction, 15 damage, 15 damage reduction, 10 damage, 10 damage reduction. Whereas here, with Majestic Aura, you get 10 and 10, which is okay, then 15 and 10, and then 20 and 10. So in the end, the more you invest into Majestic Aura, the less the gains when it comes to the damage reduction. I think this needs to be 15 damage reduction and this needs to be 20. So it can be balanced with Divine Judgment. Then people going this way would have a great setup, because there's a lot of crit damage on this way. If you want a critty build. And I would try it. If I didn't really want to play with Sigmar's Blessing. I can still play with this Sigmar's Blessing, and I'm gonna try it next. For now I'm gonna try this build, and then I'm gonna remove all those points here and just keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that means I'm saving how many points? 19 points. Those 19 points, let me check where I can put them. If I go here, we can do something like this with those 19 points. And that's 155 crit damage, 42 damage. But the other way around is 120 crit damage, 52 damage. So for 35 crit damage we're losing 10 damage and 3 cooldown reduction, totally not worth it. And then we're also losing 10 damage reduction, which reminds me, let's put this passive skill. Where did it go? Divine Judgment mastered. We have 5 points. We've got 5 points to pick. One option would be Divine Judgment Superior to have more points, and then we've got 10 points, and with 10 points we can probably do Herald of the Empire, but we need 2 more points. 2 more points, alright. Incisive Breakthrough number 1. We got 4 points. And now we're talking. I think this is great. So I'm using Divine Judgment Superior, which means I can save some points. For those 3 points I can get extra 60 crit damage. In fact, it's not extra 60 crit damage, it's actually extra 35 crit damage. Other 3 points could yield... Yeah, that's probably the most optimized setup right now. Let's get another point here, and let's check again. Relic Hunt, maybe Grandmaster. Cinch really might not be that bad for a Pistolier because of the choke points. But you have to make sure you're keeping your distance from the enemies. Oh, Meteors and Tornadoes. That's gonna be a pain in the bum to play. But let's see how much more damage I can squeeze. You saw the biggest hit I had before on the previous map was 52 million. Can I get close to 60-65 million now that I've got more damage in the mix? The problem is this map, I don't want to do this map. Not tornadoes and meteors in the same place. It's just too annoying. It's gonna require a lot of kiting, especially on the boss fight. Okay, I'm running low on gold, so I'm gonna roll again. I don't want tornadoes, they're annoying. When we remain static, we lose HP every second. Ah, that's fine. Let's lose some HP every second. We will be standing static a lot with this build, by the way. So the one thing I'm seeing as a problem is it's gonna be hard to keep Duelist Chain Reaction right now. The banner does not count as a skill with cooldown, which means most of the times I'm just gonna have that 100 crit damage from Duelist Chain Reaction. But 100 crit damage is still better than no extra crit damage. 47 million right there. And mind you, I'm not squeezing the most out of my damage. I kind of went for a more balanced blessing setup, and that gives me a bit more HP rather than going all in on the damage. Okay. 45 million is the highest I've seen so far. 47 is the highest I've seen so far. I still think if I manage to somehow proc duelist chain reaction 2 stacks, I can probably do more damage. And sorry, I was not paying attention and I didn't see that I've been standing in a poison pool. And there's a healer here as well. Fucking healer. There we go. They're dead. Let's see if there's anything good here. But yeah, it's okay. It's much more survivable now that we've got padded armor. The only problem is it requires you to keep getting hit. So not every map would be perfect. If you can let some of the squishies hit you to give you some damage reduction stacks, it's okay. I say this build again on Conrad, probably better to keep playing Chaos 8 rather than pushing for Chaos 9. The difference is what, just 300 wood quality. You're gonna be doing Chaos 8 maps faster and eventually you're gonna have more relic chests open per hour and more elites killed per hour. And anything above 4000 wood quality is probably more than enough for greens to be dropping constantly every few maps. Chaosbane kind of has amazingly well balanced drop rates now compared to before. If I were to compare it with Wosen or other games, I'm gonna say for example, Wosen really needs to rework their drop rates for unique items. Because you're getting swarmed with legendaries, but when it comes to uniques, which are the build opening items, you're kind of encountering a huge disadvantage when you really want a specific build and you want that unique item, but the drop rates are so bad. Here, you're getting the unique item, you're getting the heroic item you want, and it may not be with the best stats, so you might want to have to get it a few more times to get the perfect stats. So this game needs a rerolling system like Diablo 3 has, but I'm definitely liking that the drop rates are not that bad. They're not that good either, so it's kind of a balanced. For example, Diablo 3 is swarming you with items that you can then salvage, but it makes sense in a game like Diablo to be swarmed with items because you use them for re-rolling. You sacrifice the legendaries and then you start re-rolling your stats on your other items. And this game needs such a system as well. Actually, Wosen also needs such a system because right now the supposed re-rolling of items in Wosen is so broken with those super random gem crafting recipes. Okay, let's kill this one before it kills us. But you can see, it's pleasant. I'm actually enjoying the Pistolier so much right now compared to the other build I was playing earlier. This update made the Pistolier better and it made the Sowan set a little bit weaker when it came to making a build for it. Meteor Iron Tassets. Oh, he was shooting at me, I can shoot as well. But I'm not having troubles with my energy, which is amazing. I don't even use the energy passives and I constantly regenerate energy, as you can see. All those enemies that are getting swallowed with the blue whirlpool underneath them, are enemies that are also giving me energy regeneration. Or energy cost reduction, whatever it was called. Energy cost reduction, yeah. So this is the aura of the shield. This what's that color? I don't even know what this color is called. Kind of beige, but not really. Not good with the color names, but it's between brown and cream, so kind of beige. So this aura, if they're inside, you can see them getting sword, and you can see my energy cost reduction. I'm not sure if it's showing down there. Meteoric shield 1, so that's it. But that's probably meteoric shield. I think that's the energy cost, yeah. 3 stacks right now. So they really need to be kind of very close to me to get that stacking bonus. Fuck, I'm gonna die. This is my emergency heal button. Another thing you could do is, instead of the meteoric iron, you can do what I did on my other build. You can use the Pavis of Anger, Medic's Pavis. So you can use Medic's Pavis, and then you can use the healing stuff. But there's another thing I want to show you. This is how I used to play this before, with that thing. Just look at the damage just from my spacebar. Just from my spacebar you can see 7 million. That's just from my spacebar, 9 million damage. And it repels enemies, so it's not a bad option to use it. Why is that? You might ask. So, increase the range of shield smash, SWAT enemies take more damage. Damage 100% taken when the enemies are SWAT. And this one increases the damage of the shield smash by 400. So basically, if the enemies are SWAT and you're hitting them with the shield smash, you're actually doing 500% more damage with that shield smash. And it's also improved, so it's actually doing more damage than it normally does. And it has a bigger range, you can see. That's just one way of playing it. I still think with the meteoric iron it's better, because meteoric iron is slowing the enemies. Which means they're not taking more damage just with shield smash, but with anything else. And right now it's my best chance to slow the enemies. So there's different synergies for this build. Which one you're gonna pick is entirely up to you, but in my build video I'm probably gonna suggest the meteoric iron. They come near you, they're getting slowed. Right now, let's see without the other shield, how much damage am I doing with my spacebar. Did you just see 11 million? 11 million even without that 9 million. So that extra 400% ends up not being as good because of. Let me quickly switch to shields. So this gives me 5.7 thousand, so I'm losing 1,000 damage flat, which is okay. That's not the main problem here. By the way, this one doesn't give me crit chance. Ideally you would have something that gives you crit chance instead of for example wood quality. Block chance, block damage, okay. I mean, block damage you probably don't need right now, but it's also nice to have it mostly for this passive. For this passive you do need block chance, block damage. So ideally you would have cooldown reduction, crit chance, crit damage, health, cost reduction. By the way, this build does require some cost reduction stacking. Then block chance and block damage. And see, this constant swowing keeps that damage stacked. So you can still play with the spacebar if you want to, that extra little bit of damage and repelling of enemies that get too close to you. The archetype ability for this build is nice. Because 10 million for just doing that, you can just keep pumping spacebar if you want to. Of course, it's not worth it to just play with the spacebar. You have Pistolier Heroic, you better use it. Let's place the banner, get that crit damage, boom, 13 million. Of course, every time you're using your spacebar, it means that's a second spent not using Pistolier when you're using the spacebar. And I think it's still better to use Pistolier. Probably the spacebar should be like last resort for trash mobs like that. They're near you, it's wider, the AoE is wider. But when it comes to bosses, you really want to be using the Pistolier. You can try and weave them. If they're medium range, you can try and weave one and the other. You do have wiggle room. You do have some wiggle room to... Right now I'm holding spacebar and I'm holding my mouse. But I think you can just hold the mouse and just play spacebar. You can probably hear when I'm pressing my spacebar. And you're kind of weaving, is the term for this. It works. And that way you're not sacrificing much, you're actually min-maxing it that way, the damage. Because you're using the time while your pistol or whatever rifle you're using, while this is reloading, and the blunderbuss or whatever it's called, while it's reloading, you're spamming that shield smash. Of course, you gotta keep using Taunt, because it's the only skill that can trigger that 100% crit damage. Even if it's not stacking up to 400, 100 is still better than 0. Ah, don't die, don't die, don't die. He was so close to dying. Kind of used my emergency bloodlust mode. Okay, let's kill it now. Alright, let's see what's here. And taunting also makes the enemies take 100% more damage if you're using the Grudge Settler. So you have to decide, do you want to play with the Grudge Settler, with the Blade of Vengeance, or with the Sacred Scepter? Sacred Scepter would give you the most survivability of the bat. But if you're talking damage and survivability, Blade of Vengeance is the best. But you need to get hit 10 times. No, actually you need to block 10 times. And blocking 10 times could be a bit difficult if you're not stacking block chance. So right now I'm at 22.5, which means instead of Herald of the Empire, I'm gonna suggest, if you're playing with where was it? If you're playing with the Blade of Vengeance, probably Indestructible would go well. Bastion Against Corruption is also great. If you're playing with the Blade of Vengeance, you might want to grab that one too. This one here. So Divine Judgment or Bastion against Corruption. It's a tough choice, but this can get up to 20% damage and 20% damage reduction and 20% block chance compared to superior Divine Judgment, but you need to get hit 10 times. Again, it's not constant. If you don't get hit, you don't get it, whereas with this you get it. So I think it's a flexible build. I think it's pretty flexible and it can be tweaked. So for the god skills, what else can we test? Oh wow, I forgot to change Sigmar's blessing to that one with the more damage. But I don't have the skill points to do it honestly. 10%, 20%. Let's see something. 10%, 20%, this is 10% crit chance. I'd rather have the damage reduction. Might be losing that potential. So that's one point I can remove from the build, and I will. One more point we can spend elsewhere. We can get 30% crit damage instead of this. Because I was planning on taking it for 20% regular damage, which is of course better than 30 crit. But yeah, we don't need this, and actually I can get the 30% damage. Crit damage. Well, we don't have much choice what to take. You could try, instead of using this 20% damage taken, you can try and use the other one. This is 15-second cooldown, this is 12. Oh, now it's 20. But with the banner, things change. With the banner, this is 12 and this is 9. So it's better to have this one, because you're gonna be using this one more often. And this one lasts for 10 seconds, cooldown 9 seconds. This one lasts for 16 seconds, cooldown 12 when you're in the banner. So it's up to you whether you want that extra 20% damage, which would be a good boost, or whether you want that 20 damage reduction. So one point, I don't think max energy would help much. Let's test it. Let's test playing with Sigmar's Blessing Mastered. So this and this is the change we're gonna be testing, just to see how it works with such a setup. And taunt, let's see if I can change my taunt to a different taunt. Damage, block chance, energy gain, stacking limit. So you do wanna be taunting a lot if you're using Blade of Vengeance. And I don't need this one, this only gives me... Oh, actually this gives me 6% energy gain instead of 4. But you can maybe have some experimentation. This would give you up to 20% damage. So if you can find 5 points for this, it's okay. 5 points. I mean, I actually need 3 points right now. Let's do it like that. And what did I want to do? Get a better taunt. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is with this, and then instead of Divine Judgment, you're going Bastion against Corruption. And if we are downgrading this to that, I think it's better to just do it like this. Yeah, if you're upgrading it, if we're doing that. So if you're doing Taunt Mastered, with Taunt Mastered, I think rather than downgrading Divine Judgment to the basic one, it's probably better to go for Bastion against Corruption. Because it's still 20 damage and 20 damage reduction. So a lot of things that I'm testing. But this is how I am. When I get to the part where I'm testing builds, I do check a lot of different variations of a build. Small fine-tuning changes just to figure out what works most optimally. So now we should be having better crits. Should be using my banner as well. I should also taunt the enemies. Oh, whoa, 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 move. Fuck. They caught me on a choke point where I couldn't escape. That line. Alright. What's on this map? Poison clouds. I'm not a big fan of poison clouds when I'm playing Pistolier. Why? Because I stand still a lot and they end up appearing in my feet and then I just don't see them on time. Alright, let's do a different map. I'm not gonna do poison clouds. You gotta know your build strengths and weaknesses and reroll for the convenient maps. Hero's armor reduces over time. Just it shouldn't exist in the game, this map modifier. Skill cooldowns increased. Not the worst. Corruption marks appear at hero's feet. Again, something that I would not suggest playing on Pistolier. Enemies explode on that. I really hate it because my frames per second, and not mine, everyone's frames per second, due to badly optimized animation, get fucked up. They just didn't optimize the animation of this. It keeps trolling me, giving me the modifiers that are counters to my build. Well, fuck it, I'm gonna do an invasion now, because I don't have money. Oh, and the invasion I did earlier didn't get counted. Did it? Or maybe I did this one. Anyways, let's do... Crit chance reduced. I'm probably gonna do something like... let's do this one. They gain armor 20%. They can gain even more, but with this build we are doing a lot of armor piercing, so it doesn't matter. Definitely, I don't have the best rolls on my items for this build. Far from it, but at least it's all green. But sometimes using a red item might be better than using a badly rolled green with completely trash rolls. When you need utility, when it's a cooldown based build and you really are okay sacrificing some damage for cooldown, that's fine. This build definitely doesn't need that much cooldown. In fact, the only thing and that really needs the cooldown right now is taunt. The god skills definitely are nice to have lower cooldown, but we can get them to 100% uptime as long as we stay in the circle. If you do that. So there's a way to make this a super tanky build. There's a way to go all in on the survivability, sacrifice some damage, get both damage reduction rings. So if I were to replace the purple signet with signet of fortification, I'm gonna survive a lot more, but my damage is taking a huge blow. I'm gonna try and do it now. Let's try and show you. And then I can go and get more passives for damage reduction, stack shit tons of it, and then you can play a tanky pistolier if you want. So there's a way of even making a pistolier that face tanks stuff if you want. But for that one I'm gonna suggest maybe using the medic shield, because you're gonna need the healing if you wanna be face tanking shit. Still with Blade of Vengeance though, because you do want that damage reduction from it as well. Blade of Vengeance is up to 30%, whereas the hammer is only 20% damage reduction. But yeah, Conrad is the one I've been avoiding for the past month since the Forges update. I've only played probably a few maps on Conrad, because I wasn't liking what I saw in the patch notes, and I wasn't liking, in fact, the Thrice Blessed Copper Meadow not being able to heal anymore at all, not even with the initial cast of a god skill, which is a bug. It should at least heal with the initial cast of god skills. Even if it doesn't heal with every pew, every one of those pews being 20% heal. Okay, I understand this might be a little bit overpowered, but the initial casting of the god skill should still heal. Which, with the banner here, for example, that's every 10 seconds and every 14 seconds. If you time them correctly, that means you're gonna have every 6 and every 4 seconds. So 6 seconds cast, 4 seconds cast, 6 second cast, 4 second cast, which is enough to keep getting 20% HP twice every 10 seconds or so. And if you use something like this, Sacred Fire Meadow, even more often for heals, for a cooldown based build. So right now with the Signet of Fortification, my damage is still nice, 30 something million hits. It's okay. Losing 40% damage doesn't seem to hurt my ability to clear enemies. The one that hurts it me being bad at controlling the character. And this is why Siege might be good for pistoliers, because it's tight hallways, so they're grouping very neatly during those hallways for a pistolier shot. They're just lining up, waiting to get murdered by some lead. Let's see if I can face tank this shit. Yep. that was a quick one, but this is it's a low level invasion. This is supposed to be easy. Now let's do Chaos 8. One more map and then I'm switching. And if anyone wants to see a specific character, let me know. Come on, really? It gave me the exact same thing I reset. Alright, this is fine. Let's do corn. Corn and pistolier. I'm loving doing corn with pistolier. Got some water. Okay, ready. So still doing 23 million without even the banner being placed on the ground. Which is fine. It's good numbers. But our defenses can get much better if we stack those padded armor stacks and Blade of Vengeance stacks. So we're starting on a 2.2 million, but we can get up to 22 million defense with enough stacks, but we gotta take damage. Or maybe we can go up to 18 million, not 22. Because I changed the bastion. And probably it's better to just group them up on bigger groups if you wanna be killing stuff quicker. Ah, fuck. And if you group them on a bigger group and taunt, you're getting more damage. You need at least 10 enemies around you when you taunt to get the max damage buff you can get. So it's still not tanky enough to be able to face tank a lot and get that Blade of Vengeance stacking going on most of the time. On some maps. I mean, if you only let those little guys hit you, then it's probably fine. The problem is on bosses. Are you gonna be able to keep up those stacks? And do you even need those boss stacks on bosses? Probably better off switching to a grudge holder before a boss. And when playing solo, you can do it. You can go, open your inventory, pause the game, switch to a grudge holder. It takes what, 3 seconds to open the inventory and right click, like doing this. And equipping a grudge holder. Pretty quickly. You can do that for a boss if you think you're not gonna be able to keep getting hit. So yeah, you're not gonna get that 30% damage reduction, but you wouldn't anyways if you don't get hit 10 times and keep getting hit without losing those stacks. And at least you can get 100% damage when taunting near the boss, instead of relying on getting hit 10 times to get 200%. You can see I still did 46 million damage right now to a taunted enemy. Not sure if I even had the banner then. But there's one thing I still think we can sacrifice that damage and keep doing it that way. I think it's better to have mastered Sigmar's Bastion, because you can spam this extra. This chance to stun the enemies is just too good. Because you can cast it multiple times and each one of those casts can stun enemies. But if you go for the basic Sigmar's Bastion, you can only cast it once. You can do pew pew pew. And I don't think it can stun. Can it? Yeah, no stunning. This one has a chance to stun and you can reuse the skill and keep that beam. And still 41 million. So yeah, I did 46. I was 20% damage by not having the mastered Sigmar's Blessing, and What, just 5 million less? Eh, we can live with it. Percent wise, that 5 million from 46 to 41 is a what? It's kind of like 1/4 of the damage. No, 1/8 of the damage, roughly. Or should I say 1/9? But it's there. It's a big part of the damage, but it's still a lot of damage regardless. So, and this gives us that extra 20% damage reduction. So it's definitely the better option in my opinion. So I've tested a lot of stuff for Pistolier. I'm hoping that whomever is watching, if someone was interested in Conrad builds, might have learned some useful information and gotten some ideas of how to do Pistolier, how to do Sown build. In the same way I'm doing Sown build that I was doing earlier at the beginning of this video of this stream. You can use the same setup that I used for Solent on Meteoric Iron and Blazing Herald. Do it exactly as it is with the slight difference that you're just using a different heroic skill, and on the Meteoric Iron you're gonna have to use Taunt instead of the charging skill. And on the Blazing Herald, what was the heroic? With Blazing Herald, the heroic stuff. Should the charge is improved? Oh, that's... Wait, should the charge? Oh, it's not break through the ranks, okay. Just wanted to see. Shield smash, shield the charge. Oh yeah, shield the charge was that one here. So yeah, instead of using the meteors, you're using shield the charge. But I would suggest using the meteors still, and using the non-heroic Justice of the Empire with the Blazing Herald, and using shielded charge. So maybe dropping break through the ranks from the Sown build to do the Herald, and dropping break through the ranks and getting Taunt to do it with the Meteoric Iron as well. But I still think that the two sets that are best for Conrad are Skaven Killer and Sown. Those two sets are the ones you want to be using. One of those, because the other ones are like the Meteoric and the Blazing sets are offering very similar playstyle to Sown, but with not the same amount of effectiveness. But still, if you want to be using those, it is an option, just not as viable, but it's still okay to play it. $54 million? Was that 54 million, or did I not see right, or was it 45? Alright, gotta return a bit. Am I constantly bleeding on this map? Oh, when I stop fighting, I lose HP. I better find some fighting. Please don't kill me. So I lost my purple ring, and I'm still doing damage without relying on that purple ring. And in fact, I lost. Look at the changes I made. Losing the purple signet means I'm losing a potential uh, cooldown time reduction, and I'm losing 50% damage potential when picking up a Bloodlust Orb. And not only that, but I replaced it for a Signet of Fortification, so I actually lost a potential 90% increase. And constant 40% less damage, potential 90% less damage. But winning that 30% HP and 20% damage reduction is definitely worth it if you want to be a bit more on the safe side of the survivability. Once you get more used to playing the build, you can experiment with getting more damage, less survivability. But I always advise new players to maybe avoid the glass cannon playstyle unless they think they can handle um, the glass cannon playstyle. Oh, right now I'm playing with the Grudge Holder, right? She almost died there. I wish I could stop this. See, what we need in the game is when we use the blood lust mode or whatever it's called. When we use it, we need an option to press the button again to stop it. So let's say I've got all 3 orbs filled. And that's fine, I've got all 3 orbs filled, I use it, but then I end up clearing all the nearby enemies within 1.5 orbs used, and I've still got like 50% on this one and 100% on that one left, and I just want to preserve it. We need a mechanic that lets us press the button again to stop this. Or maybe I want to use this one and just only use one orb, and then when that one orb is depleted, I want to preserve the other two for the next battle, because most of the times it's an overkill uh, using the full 3 orbs, and it's just a waste most of the time, because by the time it's over you probably would have killed everything twice already. Alright, let's just put this and change. I think enough Conrad for today. I didn't get lucky. I really wanted to find something with Health Drain, and the only thing with Health Drain I've got is this one. This is my only new good drop on this guy. Yeah, armor drops are fine as well. Maybe I can get some good ones soon. Which reminds me, let's see what else I got earlier. So I got this Sowant, but I don't think I got this now. I got this one earlier, Meteoric Iron Tassets. I'm gonna check them. Okay, so Meteoric Iron Tassets. Let's compare my current ones with the new ones. So anything that's not blessed is probably something that I've replaced since the last time I played that and never got down to blessing it. You can see I've been testing counterattack damage builds on this set, and that was during the previous update, during the what's its name, Tom King's. And it really didn't end up being good enough. It really didn't end up being good enough, so I'd I'd say save your blessings and don't go for counterattack builds. It's still not strong enough, even with the increased counterattack damage we can get. It just counterattack damage is not gonna give you good damage on Conrad right now. Okay, new character. I mean, not new character, but switching characters. So I've played a lot of Bragi, Kiwa, and Lesser recently, A lot of people like Eontier. I might show you some Eontier, but I've played a lot of Eontier as well. But there are some things on him I wanna test. But in order to test those things, I need counterattack damage items. Do I have all the blessings needed to test it? Time will tell. One thing I wanted to test is, not on this set though. I actually haven't decided which set would be the best set to test. But what I wanna do is a build with counterspell. Counterspell build. You can see right now 7.1% with 3000 counterattack damage. Counterattack damage, I can get it up to 60 on the right character with the right amount of counterattack damage on items and blessings, even higher. But let's say a balanced build with just a few items blessed for counterattack damage can probably get up to 45,000. 45,000. If 3.5 equals 7.1. Let's say 3.5 is 7 and 5 is 10 and 10,000 is 20 and 30,000 is 60. Is it worth it? 60% extra damage. And we can get that up to 90% damage with maxed out counterattack based stuff. I wish there was a search option. I want to see where else we could get counterattack damage. This is for speedrunning. Party-based speedrunning. There's interesting builds you can do if you have teammates and you wanna team up and do something together. That stacking limit 100. That means up to 200 maximum energy and up to 100 energy regeneration. Based on how much HP I've lost. So definitely not really. I still don't think I'm gonna be making builds with this. And this has a problem. This is using a skill with cooldown has a chance to heal all players, not heal all players. So if this was 100% chance, it would have been amazing. Amazing for some builds. So I'm gonna avoid this part. I'm wondering if living magic is better now. It used to be kind of so-so. Those magic projectiles weren't really strong, and just investing all the way here didn't give you very good results. So I think the only thing I want is to invest into that tree. But which set am I gonna use? Am I gonna use the melee set? Do I want to use the melee set? If I do use the melee set, how many points would I need? If I get rid of all that crit damage and get damage, it's gonna be better. It's definitely gonna be better, but losing arcane secrets means losing 40% damage. If that 90% damage makes up for it though, it might pay off. So that's what we can do right now. But I'm gonna have to change my gear. And I only hope I've got enough blessings to do it. Because right now this is 7.1%, but That's only temporary, so first I need my items. Crystalline ring. Do I need Hotek? Oh no, no, that's not the items I need. Phase shift, where is my phase shift amulet? So I need this and this and this and this and this. This goes here. So now I'm at 11% damage. I lost 40. But that 40 was only to burning enemies, and this can go better. It can definitely go stronger, but first of all, I wish there were dummies in the town. If there were dummies in the town, it would have been so much easier to test my damage capabilities. Right now I'm at 106,000 damage. 106,000 damage. So which item do I want to bless first? I'm gonna start with the armors, something that's not with the high roll. So the ones that don't give me much flat damage is the ones I'm gonna change first. This one, 3400, 3500. Let's see. I'm gonna do this one first. And we're going HP armor damage reduction. So 2500 counterattack damage should give us 5% extra damage, maybe. Yeah. But would that be enough? See, my damage went down. My damage went down by like 1000. My overall damage. My HP went up. So it's still gonna be strong. And this damage is not gonna be like arcane secrets only to burning enemies. It's gonna be to any enemy. All the time. And it's not gonna be magical damage, they're taking any damage I'm doing. Although with this build, most of the time we're alternating between magic and fire. Every second hit is magic, and every first is fire. So it's still not bad to play it with Arcane Secret. Just another way of playing. Let's try and get a little bit more counterattack damage, and overall it would be stronger. I think overall this build would be stronger if I get new items. New items can get a lot more counterattack damage. I'm gonna see if I can show you. I don't think I can right now, but I wanna show you old and new. I need to make a comparison so you can see it clearly what I mean. Why I'm going for counterattack damage. Those are all old items. I need something new. Just to show you the difference. Old. Might not be able to show you now. Probably with rings I can show you. Let's see, anything new. But overall you can get almost double the counterattack damage on some items, on others 60% more counterattack damage. That's the item row, not the one you get from Blessings, but the item row. So it's gonna require a little bit more farming, but it's a viable setup and it's actually a very fun setup to do. So I'm gonna have to spend some time farming invasions, getting new gear, but right now I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna bless one more item for counterattack damage. This ring. Yeah, let's do the ring. $333, this is gonna go $350 probably. 336, really? Really? I don't have anything that gives me percent HP probably. Oh, I do. 25% HP. And yet a 2000 change only gave me 3000. Okay. Still, the damage only dropped by 2000 here, from 106 to 104, without any buffs on me. But again, as I said, this is gonna change if I get new items. New items would give me overall 60-70% if every single item of my set gets replaced for another one that gives me counterattack damage. So this one can give up to 1300 counterattack damage when it's new. This one up to 1300. This one can give up to 2500 counterattack damage when it's a new one. This one up to 1300. This one can give up to 1000, 1200. I think around 1000. Let's say 1000 for rings, I think. Compared to 350, 400, 400 and something, this goes to 950 up to 1000 now. So definitely can be upgraded by a lot in that regard. Right now we're on Chaos. Let's go Chaos 9. Forges enemies explode on death, not the most pleasant for my machine. I'm getting video whack when the enemies explode. And it's not just me, it's the animation that they're using for the explosion being super heavy, and when there's a lot of enemies dying at the same time. See what I mean. That's what I mean. And people might think, oh, what the fuck's happening, something's wrong. But it's the game, it's not my machine, it's only the exploding enemies. And I think even someone with 2080 titanium would still get that whack. It's just badly optimized stuff. I don't have 2080 titanium, but if someone has 2080 titanium and is playing this game, please tell me whether you have whack on those exploding enemies. The same way I do. Would love to hear from someone in that regard. Explosions. So this is the melee build, by the way. Oh fuck. Damage over time, not damage over time, exploding enemies. Healer, die first, my buddy. Die first, healer. Now we can kill the other guy when the healer is dead. Oh, there's someone following me. Let's let them catch up to me. But yeah, I think overall it might end up being a much stronger way of playing this. If you go for some counterattack stuff and go full counterattack blessings, you just need armors that give you more. Because right now if I go full counterattack, I'm losing roughly 1000 per piece of equipment damage over here. So from 106,000 I went to 104 with just 2 pieces changed. So if I do 10 pieces, that means I'm getting a lot more HP. I'm roughly gonna get around 20,000 HP, maybe 25,000 HP. And I'm gonna lose 10,000 damage over here without buffs, which is not too much. It's not too much to lose, knowing that we still do a lot of damage, but that damage would be all the time. The extra damage I'm getting. Whereas with the other one I did have extra 40% on top of that 106. On top of that 106 I did have extra 40% magical damage to burning enemies, which does not show up there. But as I said, that's without the new items, so those items are legacy items, as I call them. Legacy items before the patch, the latest patch. And look at my counterattack. Counterattack damage 10,000. As I said, this can go up to 40,000 easily, even more than 40,000. The problem is to get that I'm losing flat damage from my items. And losing that flat damage could hurt. But I don't think this build would be hurt that heavily. This build already does plenty of damage, so losing 10% of what you do is not that bad, even if you're using legacy items. But again, I think with new items it might end up being better than before. And it's gonna be another build with counterattack damage. As the major point. And it's not counterattack damage that you're doing the damage from, but it's counterattack damage that you're getting damage from a passive based on. Kind of like the crit monster on Bragi giving you crit damage, but in this case it's giving you flat damage increase by 11%. Not 11, by a lot. You can get it up to like 60, 70, 80% increase if you stack counterattack damage. So I'm gonna do that next. After this map I will replace every single blessing on my gear to the counterattack version and see how it works then. Oh, healer, fuck you healer, fuck him up real good. There we go. Oh, that's how he wants to play it. Okay, take more damage now then. Can't wait to leave this map. Those damn explosions messing up with the performance.
May the winds of magic grant me power!
Okay, let's go here now. But Devontier, definitely a fun guy to play right now in the current state of the game, especially with the melee build. And it's nice to know that the counterattack version of the build is not gonna be that much weaker, and you're getting more survivability because you're gonna have more HP. More HP only in the case you were using the blessing where you're having 3 or 4 reds. If you were using 2 reds and 2 green in your gear, so your HP is not gonna change. It's gonna remain. Let's get rid of some drops. So, as I said, let's do it. All in. Wait. Why is this here? So, let's take those boots, last blessing, make offering. Let's take this, last blessing, make an offering. But this is what I like to do. I like to go into the builds that people wouldn't even consider playing. Oh, this was nice. It was almost the maximum I can get. First I'm gonna get everything blessed, and then I'm gonna try and squeeze better rows. So I'm gonna have to trade some of the blue fragments for green, or maybe some of the yellow for green. We'll see. but I will have to trade. I'm even gonna do the weapons. Normally I wouldn't touch the weapons because I switch those in between different builds. I wanna go all in. Oh, wait. Wait. I messed it up, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't. Alright, let's exchange. We need green stuff, so let's do something like this, and maybe let's do something like this, and then we've got enough green stuff. And what's left? One of the rings is left and the amulet, right? So let's see, from 106,000 I think I'm gonna go down to 94,000 damage. This is just my guess. But from 330 I got 375,000, so 45,000 HP. Wait, I'm still at 106? Surprisingly, I'm actually at the same amount of damage. Okay, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good to see. And there's also another thing we can implement. Oh, my pet needs some food, so let me quickly feed him. Sorry for that, but he could be very annoying if he doesn't get fed. Say how hungry you are. He doesn't want to say. Alright, let's give him food. And let's go test. So surprisingly, the damage from 106,000 before a single item was equipped with counter-attack damage. Now we did get it to 206,000 with all of them equipped. And what we had here before, the crit damage I had here before, I want to compare that crit damage to the other one. And I'm just gonna quickly switch to another God skill tree just to see. So I think I'm losing. I think I had it all the way to here. I'm losing 5% crit damage. I think I had something like that. I don't remember exactly what I had. I can check later, but that's fine. So just wanna see something. I can get 35% crit damage instead of this damage reduction. I can get rid of some health and cooldown. And I can get another 35 crit damage. And so here's the thing, do I wanna use Etheric Storm or do I wanna use Spiritual Prison? Damaging and swallowing enemies at the end of their trajectory, the projectiles explode, repelling and creating. So this is 22-second cooldown, this is 32. This was for 10 seconds though, and this gives me 20% damage if the lightning strikes the enemy. So on bosses, that's extra 20% damage for me and my teammates as well. Whereas this one is just a little bit of damage and it's not that great, honestly. So I'm gonna still keep that one. If I get 2 more points, this would be great. Oh no, it's not gonna be great. We don't need those 2 points, we wanna stop here. That's as far as we go in this part. So I actually managed to squeeze every little bit of crit damage I wanted. For the price of 10 HP, 4 cooldown reduction, so 12 HP, 4 cooldown reduction and 4 damage reduction versus champions. I think it's a good bargain. to get 70% crit damage. 10 energy, because this 5 energy and this 5 energy here, which I really don't care about energy for this build, and another 2% damage. Totally worth it. Okay, so how's my counterattack damage right now? 31,000. And this, as I said, is just the beginning. Wait. There we go. I was wrong. I was wrong. My damage was not 106,000. It's 68,000. So whether this is gonna be good enough, I'm gonna test it. My buff messed with my head. So this 68,000 damage, I can probably with new items get it to be up to 90,000 damage. 90,000 damage is achievable with every single item replaced for high row counterattack damage. Super gear specific, but you don't need that much anyways. You don't need that much, it's probably gonna be good enough damage as it is. We're gonna test it. This is just an experiment. If it doesn't work out strong enough, of course sticking to my old version of the build would be fine. Is it strong enough for Chaos 9? This is what we are testing now. I have to be careful with the exploding skeletons, by the way. They explode immediately. It's still good enough for Chaos 9. Still good enough. Health drain would also be amazing for this build. Getting a good weapon with health drain would be perfect addition with this new update, adding that stat. My gear, as I said, legacy items, they don't have the new counterattack, they don't have health drain, so a lot of stuff that I would want is missing. I can still do good damage though, I can still slice through them easily enough. And on top of that I got more HP, so there's that as well. The damage is definitely not as good. I wanna do a boss fight. Because that's where I'm gonna be able to stack my Doric chain reaction to the maximum. Stack my buffs while standing still. Because right now I gotta keep moving, I can't stay still for too long. And this build, the longer you stay in one place, the better it is. You still gotta move every now and then when it's needed. But I'm thinking of when recording a build video for that thing, to have both versions, the counterattack version and the non-counterattack version. So I'm probably gonna record some footage with the counterattack version, then change the blessings to the other version with the damage and HP and with arcane secrets instead of counterspell, and just using the first god skill 3. For people who think they want that, or maybe for people who don't have the God Skills DLC and just want a good build that can be played without buying the Season Pass or the God Skills DLC that includes it. But it's okay. This one definitely not as strong. I mean, I can see this probably going to 25 million, 26, 7 million damage, and that's probably where the limit would be. Whereas with the others, sometimes I would see 54 million. Here on average it's between 12 and 19 million on average, mostly 14, 15, 17. Without stacking everything, that is. I wanna see on a boss how much I can do. It's still okay though. I mean, for Chaos 9, it's still more than enough to annihilate swarms of enemies easily without dying that easy yourself. So I'm gonna have to save my god skill for the boss fight because it's approaching. So I'm not gonna use it. Okay, let's see now. How quickly can we kill him without dying? Can we face tank him? Good enough. I mean, of course I probably would have killed him 60% faster on my other setup, but it's just an option. If someone wanted to play it that way, that's an option that wasn't as good before. As you can see now, it's okay, and it can be even stronger than you're seeing, with items that have been farmed after the Forges update started and have counter-attack damage built in. It's okay. And again, for me, the best difficulty to farm always has been, since the Forges update landed, always has been Chaos 9. Chaos 10 is just taking too long for only 300% extra wood quality. Yeah, on Chaos 10 you can farm XP. If you want XP, you can do Chaos 10. If you really want more XP, but still Chaos 9 is probably better. And it's normal that you can't find people in this game. There aren't many of us playing it. Even I don't play every day. I come back to it. Sometimes I would take a month break. Sometimes it would be 2 weeks. Sometimes it would be a few days without playing it. Because I do have other games to play, stream, make content for. And I'm juggling. And that's without Torchlight Frontiers, which is now known as Torchlight 3. Without that even being um, publicly discussable. I mean, we can talk about it, but I can't show you content of it. When the NDA in Torchlight 3 is lifted, that's probably gonna be the game I stream and play the most. But I'm still gonna be playing this. I'm still gonna be doing Borderlands and Wosen and some other games every now and then. But Chaosbane has been the second game I started making content for. I started with Torchlight Frontiers in April last year, so 1 year ago roughly. And then when this game landed last summer, I started making content for it, and then eventually when Borderlands launched, I started making content for that too. But in the Discord server, I can see that every now and then there's people, but most of them are console players, PS4, Xbox. Some of us are on PC, and if you're on PC, you can add me. And if you want people to play with, you can play with me, but you have to be on Steam. You have to be on Steam, and I can send you a link to add me if you're still watching. Anyone who's watching, feel free to add me on Steam. You can use the link which I'm gonna give you in a moment. Friends, view friends. Just a second. At send a quick invite, copy. It expires after 30 days, so let's generate a new link that's gonna be valid for 30 days. So I'm posting this on any platform. But multiplayer is kind of dead, kind of. The good thing about this game is you can play it with people on the same machine. So if I have people that are visiting me, and for example I move my PC to the living room where we have a big TV, and let's say I've got 3 friends, we can add people and they can use controllers to play. So I can play with mouse and keyboard, and they can play with a controller. Oh, I'm not sure how it would work if we have a second mouse and a second keyboard, if it's possible, but you can do that hot seat co-op. And on console, it's amazing because again, on consoles, you can have people, up to 4 people on the same console playing the game. So it's interesting. It's interesting and it's nice that this game allows you to do this. but consider it a single player game. At this point, with the little player base it has, consider it as a single player game rather than a co-op. Yeah, if you get a co-op game sometimes, it's gonna be nice. I'm actually gonna make my game public in case someone is playing and wants to join. You can go and click, you can join, you can do this find public game free roam and search for game, and that's gonna find you my game as soon as I make it public. And you can use the link I gave you. This link would add you on my Steam friends list. So yeah, this build from 106,000 damage went to 68,000 damage. My HP went up by a few thousand, and it's still okay. I mean, it could be better. Of course, my crit damage went a little bit higher than before, but it's a weird build. Weird build that probably I'm not sure anyone ever attempted to build with counter spell. But it's interesting, so that's kind of what we've got. Arcane Binding, Hero of the Desert, Counterspell, Padded Armor, Fortress of Willpower Superior, and Duelist Chain Reaction. And here, Etheric Vortex Superior, Step Between Worlds Superior, Binding White Mustard, Etheric Storm Mustard, Breath of Fire, which can be replaced with anything. This one is completely optional. You can put the Tornadoes, you can put the Etheric Orb, and you can even put Phoenix Bulwark if you like it. Just an energy burner if you want one. Or you can even put a non-energy skill, you can put something else. Oh, Etheric Ray also is not bad as an option here. And thank you for the subscribe to the person that just subscribed on my YouTube channel. I missed your name in the notification, but thank you very much, Jude. Welcome to the Struck Club. If you're watching, that is. So, and Phantom Blade Heroic, Arcane Binding Heroic. Why 2 heroic skills? This one gives you Phantom Blade Heroic, and the set gives you the passive. So, enough talking, let's do another map. Weird build crew all the way. Oh, I don't want to do skeletons again. Let's do something new. Oh, exploding enemies, please no. Please no. This one. So that's an option for Conrad, for Evontier. I showed you some options for Conrad and this one for Evontier. And when I make the build video, I'm gonna have to farm blessings. Because I don't have enough. Well, I probably can if I exchange blessings to get my gear back to where it was. So I'm probably gonna record some footage in the next couple of days, 2-3 days, for this build and for the Conrad build, and make them one by one. And as I said, I want to do 2 builds for Conrad, the Pistolier and the Sowen build. And then I want to do a build for this guy for that set, and probably one for the ult one as a rework. And for this I'm gonna give 2 options. The option with the counter attack, counter spell, and the other one would be a kind of slightly reworked version of my old melee build with small changes, which I was playing. I was playing the other version 4 or 5 days ago, maybe 6, depends. Few days ago, I mean maybe a week, who knows, I don't remember exactly when, but the last time I was streaming and playing, I was playing the version I was talking about, the one that's not with counterattack based damage. I'm wondering if the let's actually try and get enemies to hit me to see how much damage they take just from the counterattack. 58, 60,000, so definitely that's not the main source of damage, but the damage that the passive gives us, it's fun to have that stacking.
May the winds of magic grant me power!
So the counterattack is not something we're relying on as a main source of damage, but kind of like the Bragi build. The Bragi build gets thousands, hundreds and thousands of crit damage based on how much counterattack we've got. But we are not relying on getting hit and dealing damage reflected to the enemies. Different playstyle.
Grant me power.
But again, what you're seeing is me playing with green items. A newbie wouldn't have green items. Not at first, of course, eventually you would get some. So Chaos 9 would be a bit too much, but Chaos 6-7 with a red set should be doable. Chaos 6 with a full red set shouldn't be a problem. Maybe even Chaos 7 with a full red set would be fine. Especially if you get a weapon or a gauntlet green, then you can probably push Chaos 8 maybe. Because the weapon and gauntlet is where a lot of damage comes from. But it's an interesting strong setup. Definitely not as strong as the one I played a week ago. But again, this remains to be seen. Until I get items with a lot of counterattack, I won't be able to confirm which is stronger. Right now, this is 30% weaker, flat damage wise. 30% damage weaker might sound like a big number, but for me this still does enough damage to be able to run this difficulty without a problem. So honestly, with it, without it, it doesn't make that much of a difference to me on Chaos 9 with green gear. I can still run the maps quick enough, especially if I don't kill every single enemy. Right now I could just go to the boss fight, but I like killing every elite enemy I find. Most of the items I've found, most of the green stuff has been from champions rather than bosses or chests. Instead of from relic chests, I've gotten a lot of good wood from, I like to call them horny chests, the ones with the 4 horns. Every map has a version of it. On the first act map, it's not that big. The horns, they are not that big. In this map and on act 4, they are a bit bigger. No horns on act 5 or act 6 though. Well, act 6 is kind of like the act 1 chests, so there are still some small horns. But the biggest chest you can find that is not a relic chest, that's the one I'm talking about. Every map has one of those. And those can drop good stuff, never miss them. If you know the map layouts, and you will know them, eventually you would learn which way to go if you wanna go for a chest before the boss or before the relic chest. So the other set I would be doing stuff for, but not right now, would be Ult 1. It's the most damage reduction set, it's the most tanky set, perfect for a tank that still does damage. Another thing that I really like is the Morvo set, because the Morvo set, Impetuous one as it's called, is the only one that could work well with the damage over time blessing setup. Crit damage over time blessing setup on this set could work okay. I still probably would suggest either a mix between damage HP and crit damage over time, or going all in on the damage. I mean, I've tested full on damage over time. It's not that bad because with the full on damage over time you're getting more HP rather than a balanced damage HP setup. Unless you go for a HP damage setup where you're going for 4 green blessing fragments, which still gives you up to 8000 HP. With this one you can go for more crit damage rather than more HP, but I wouldn't suggest it. The damage over time is always the same though. And in theory you can get 10 pieces of 7.8 or 8 crit damage, which is up to 80% crit damage. So not bad, and it still works. So if you want a weird build that's not just stacking HP damage, the Impetuous one can give you another weird build, stacking damage over time, crit damage, HP, blessings. Which, if you want to know how to do those, let's show you. So basically, you take this and you do, what was it? Was it this and this? No, it was this. So that's it, up to 8000 HP, up to 8 crit damage and up to 4000 damage over time. Wait, why do I have 1900 here? Oh, they buffed it! Shit. Oh, so yeah, I'm gonna be testing this before Route 1. Uh, this got doubled, roughly. Okay, that's good news for me. So let's do it. I'm gonna test it later, but for now I first wanna get everything that already has crit damage over time. So chest piece. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. So definitely an upgrade. If we can get that much more, twice more, roughly twice more. I think we could get up to 2000 before, or up to 1900. And now we can get up to 4000, which is just amazing. So the Morvo set is the only set I would suggest going for those blessings on any class, even on Elessa. On a poison build I would still suggest staying away from the damage over time setup. On this one the heroic skill does damage over time, and you can do like 20 million crits with damage over time. So on this one it makes super nice synergy to have a few items with damage over time, if not all. What am I forgetting? So this is changed, this is changed. Let's do the boots. I'm not seeing the boots. Morvo boots. Oh, they're over here. Okay, so 3 items with damage over time. And on this set you might want to get some damage over time from items as well. You might want to have an alternative version of your regular items. So I always use the Blade of Azire when possible, but sometimes I go for Blade of Instability, because it's also not a bad one. Soulfire also is nice. Soulfire is also nice, but for Soulfire you really need a lot of enemies around you. You need 10 enemies near you to be burning. Rift Eater is also not too bad, but I still think Blade of Azar is amazing because it gives you a heroic skill that you can use and do a ton of damage with it. For the stuff for this set, again Relentless Sentinel, the same one I'm using on my other, on this build, so definitely I'm gonna be taking those. But should I try it now? Let's try it. Fuck it, let's go ahead and try it. Think of Hotek. So let's see. First of all, the gauntlet can drop with damage over time. So instead of counterattack damage, here I would want damage over time. This one, instead of counterattack damage, I would probably want damage over time. And on this one, instead of wood quality, I would probably want damage over time. Just checking what else is missing. HP is missing. So armor piercing, maybe instead of that I can get HP, and instead of wood quality, damage over time for this build. On this one I would still prefer the armor piercing because it goes pretty high on the blade compared on this one. This goes up to 6 point something, I think this goes up to 13-14%. So first of all, I hope I have enough blessings. I'm gonna have enough for 2 more items. So here we go. By the way, if you're wondering why I've got this here, is so that when I'm using Breath of Fire, I can reduce the cooldown of Blinding Light or any other skill. So I can spam Blinding Light what? Let me check my god skills. Okay. Makes sense to have them like this. Totally understandable. By the way, this is the damage over time stuff. So I'm wondering if I should experiment with this. How many percent damage over time can I get? 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 probably. 30, 30 damage over time is what I can get. Totally not worth it. Well, 22 damage, it's still fine because the initial hits on all my stuff would get boosted. So let's do a map now. Instead of talking, let's just do maps. Not Swanesh, please. So here I think is a bug. Enemies cooldowns are reduced when they take damage, should mean players cooldowns are reduced when they take damage. And I don't want cooldown. This is heavily dependent on cooldowns build. Cooldown is super important for this build. Might as well do this. Cooldowns have a chance to increase. That's as I said, not really great for me. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So what you want is to do this. That's one of the things I really don't like about this heroic skill, is it repels enemies, and I'd much rather it pulls enemies closer, because I want the enemies to be inside this circle. I want the enemies to be there so they can take that damage over time. I want to show you when I stack the damage stuff how much damage they can take, and since it repels the enemies I can't show you properly unless I put them into a corner. But I want to show you that it should be able to reach up to like 20 million up to 20 million damage just from the damage over time from the heroic skill. When I stack my duty chain reaction to the maximum and I'm standing still, so I can get the bonuses of the sentinel stuff. And basically what you want to be doing on bosses is using Breath of Fire whenever you can, using skills with cooldown and spamming your damage over time heroic. So when I'm using Breath of Fire I'm consuming energy, which has a chance to... Do you see how the cooldown Do you see how the cool... Look at that. The cooldown is kind of flashing. It went up because the enemies hit me and I have a chance to increase my cooldown on this map. But you can see how sometimes it's skipping and it's speeding up the cooldown when I'm consuming energy. Now there's no enemy, so I can show you better. Just need to fill my energy a bit. So I need to make sure I'm not... but you probably saw what I'm talking about. How the cooldown kind of gets decreased. Oh, it's a public game, I can't open the inventory and pause. So I'm gonna quickly have to drop something. Forgot to sell while I was in the town. So I'm not doing that much direct damage, but the damage over time, you can see 12 million just now, and I can tell you on a boss it can probably go up to 20. But even if you don't want to go damage over time, you can still go for a regular HP damage combo in the blessings, and it's still gonna be a strong stuff to play. You can try playing with the Soulfire if you want instead of Blade of Azire, but I think the Blade of Azire is just amazing. But for Belcuradris, the Blade of Azire is not as great as a Soulfire. Because with Belcuradris you have Whitening hitting the enemies around you all the time with magical damage, and then you have something like the Soulfire being able to burn the enemies, and if you're using Arcane Secrets, the enemies around you would constantly be burning, and they would be taking more damage, more magical damage when they're burning, and the main source of damage for the Belcuradris is the sigils you're leaving behind when you teleport, when you arrive. Actually, when you start teleporting, but that's not the set I'm talking about right now. It's the teleporty set. I'm gonna show you later in the town what I'm talking about, but that sigil you can keep spamming it in the feet of a hero, enemy champion, and just spam a few of those super quickly, then run away and let it get damaged. So that's another set where damage over time would work well, Belcuradris. Two sets that you can use damage over time. I'm gonna need some healing. Kind of a nasty enemy to get. This one is a bad counter for this set. For this set and this build, it's not really great to stand near this enemy, and if you don't stand near this enemy, you can't do that much damage with this set. So, unfortunately, getting that throw. Ah, fuck, Poison Field killed me. That's the problem, there's so much poison going on here right now. This is gonna be a very bad fight. Might as well just do another map instead of wasting time with this boss. So you have to make him stay in the circle. Oh no, don't die. Don't die. And I can heal if I stay in the circle myself, but if I stay in the circle there's gonna be a poison pool appearing if I stay in one place for too long. And then I'm gonna die. And he already healed. Natural enemy for this build. And the Chaos Throw. You can see how I bursted him in few seconds, but then he's gonna heal up. See, now he's healing. Fuck. And I can't get him away from the poison fields, which is... the thing that kills me is not him, but the damn fucking poison fields that spawn on the ground when I stay in one place for too long. Alright, we finally got him. So the damage over time from my field stacked with the damage I'm doing with my sword.
Only dust will remain.
25 million. Did you see that? So that's not gonna be as meta as the melee build or as ult one, which is more tanky. But someone might wanna still play this. Fuck, fuck, move, 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 don't die, don't fucking die, don't fucking die. No, I thought I was away from the poison field. Anyways, let's res and kill them. Now I'm gonna burst them quickly.
Only dust will remain.
3 elites at the same place. Is there a healer somewhere that I'm not seeing? So, as I suggested, this skill really needs to be pulling enemies closer instead of pushing them, instead of repelling. It makes no sense to have a skill that does damage to enemies that stand inside it, that is pushing the enemies away from the thing that damages them. It's just bullshit the way they've designed it. Okay, 11:34 p.m. I'm probably gonna stop now, but I hope you saw some helpful stuff. Feel free to send me messages on Discord or even comments under my videos if you have some questions. When I do see them, I will answer them. Sometimes my YouTube is not notifying me about comments until I go to the comments page to see if there's any unreplied ones. But yeah, thanks for watching everyone, keep it cool, until next time, and see you around.